I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And try and make sure that I have all the things visible that I need. All right. So without any further ado, Mr. Shinoda, thank you for recording. And good morning and welcome to week 4 of our parent boot camp. I want to spend the focus of this week's meeting on preparing for cohort conferences. So cohort conferences happen quarterly, and once upon a time we had them at the end of the quarter. But we realized that that did not give us enough time to perform important interventions and collaborations with our parents and our students to make sure that we were finishing up strong. So we have actually moved our cohort conferences from the end of the quarter till about week 5 or 6. And it's usually on Fridays. And some of us have found some spots to interrupt our regular Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday time to make sure that we can meet the needs of all of our families. So this is the Parent Student Teacher Conference that is part of our contract together to meet quarterly. And the big focus is going to be on student progress and identifying student needs and making sure that everybody's on the same page, progressing to success. Now, I've said at every parent boot camp, we don't expect perfection, and we certainly don't expect perfection this early in the game. We recognize that learning how to learn this way is challenging. And so we want to be sure that we're providing the appropriate and optimum level of support for you and your kiddo as we learn how to learn this way. So if your platform, your child's platform, is not all sunshine and roses, it's not all green and happy, that's okay. It can be kind of scary going into our Halloween season. And then it can still be a little holiday festive going into that holiday season with some red and some green. But what we're looking for is wrapping up our semester in January with solid skills incorporated, having spent this semester learning those time management skills, learning those project management skills, learning those self-direction skills, identifying how it is our students learn best, and then encouraging them to learn that way. We want to be encouraging them to be building that mentoring relationship. There are a lot of new things happening for them right now, and we want to be sure that we're supporting them appropriately. So what I'm sharing on my screen is one of those parent components, and that is that pathways piece. Now we have changed this from years past, so it's a little bit different for everybody. When you created your Pathways account as a parent, you created it with your own email and your own password. I don't have access to that information. Hopefully you have it written down, but this is the parent login version. And you're going to do this prior to the end of the quarter. And we're looking for one key piece from the parents at this point. When you log in, you have the dashboard, and you'll be able to see your students' courses. Now you'll see them all non-graded because at this point there are no grades in Pathways. Pathways is where we house the student schedule, and it's where you will be able to see your students' transcripts, the unofficial transcripts, at the end of the quarter once all of the grades have been posted. But at this point, there are no grades here. You will want to go to reports, and you will want to go to activities log. This is the one key piece that the parents need to be doing for the quarter. What the parent is filling out here is this write-in reading log. If it doesn't default to this for you, you may have to toggle. And there's a write-in PE log. Don't worry about the PE log. It's being done differently this year. Your parent component is really just this write-in reading log. And then you want to go here to show log. If I look in this section, I'll notice that there are 47 school days for this quarter. Learning period 1 is quarter 1, and that it started on August 18th and goes through October 22nd. So I want to be sure that this is the one that I'm looking at for this quarter, learning period 1. When I go to show log, it will pop in down here, and my job is to initial for every school day. Helps if I remember my initials. And you will want to be sure that you are initialing every school day for the entire quarter. Now, as a staff member, I should tell you that you should be initialing on a weekly basis. So on Mondays, you can initial for the previous week, but I guarantee any school day that your student has logged in and done schoolwork, they've met that reading minimum of 20 minutes because they're reading the resources in Summit. They're reading the information that their teachers are posting for them in Schoology. They are doing the reading, but this is our version of taking attendance from the parent side. Your student will be taking attendance with the course that they sign into in Schoology, but this is the parent component. Now, as a parent, I can tell you that I usually log in once and make sure that I have it entirely all filled out before I meet with my cohort teacher, because it's much more convenient that way. And I know that my student is doing the reading, but you should be initialing for the entire quarter, whether it's logging in weekly or logging in once and initialing. That is the big key piece in pathways that you will want to have done for your cohort conference. If your student has PE, there is an assignment that is relevant that will ask the students to do a screenshot of the reading log. Once you make a change, be sure you click on Save Changes. And then you will have the option to print a PDF. That PDF is the easiest place for your student to grab a screenshot. I'm not going to do that now because I haven't filled it out yet. Okay, so really quick, as you're preparing for our required quarterly cohort conference, you want to be sure that you are current in your pathways reading log. Any questions on that piece?
I haven't had any questions in the chat yet.
Excellent. Okay, so something else that your cohort teachers are going to be talking to you with at that quarterly cohort conference. And if you have not yet signed up for that time slot, please be looking in your email or be looking at your parent login in Schoology to make sure that you are getting the sign up, and we almost all use Sign Up Genius. So make sure that you have found the sign up for that. The snapshot of the reading log should be attached to your student's PE course, and I'll show you where that goes in just a minute. And that will be at the end of the quarter. But your cohort teacher will probably want to verify with you at the meeting that you have been filling out that reading log. So for those of you that are attending, you're getting a quick preview of what a cohort conference would be, and you'll be showing up very well prepared. Okay. The next piece I want to talk about as you prepare for your cohort conference is that STAR assessment piece. So every student should be taking a STAR reading assessment and a STAR math assessment. Even if you're not taking a English class with us or a math class with us, this is very valuable data that we are collecting holistically for our campus. This is a very low stakes assessment. It's much shorter than the previous MAPS assessment. Our students should be able to complete it in less than 30 minutes each. The goal of this assessment is to identify potential potholes they have in their learning. We know that last year was a wonky year even for the students that were with us. We don't know what happened with the students who weren't with us. And so we're using this set of assessments to identify those potholes, those gaps in learning, to make sure that our teachers can identify them early on and create learning opportunities to fill in those potholes and be sure that we can get all of our students on that information superhighway, learning and progressing at grade level. So again, those STAR assessments are incredibly important. They will be available if your student reaches out via Schoology to their math and English teachers. There'll be times set aside for your student to be able to do those assessments, and they can do it virtually. So it does not have to happen on campus. It can happen on Friday, it can happen on Monday, or if you have a fully virtual student that doesn't come on campus at all, just schedule a time with your math or English teacher, or reach out to me and I can provide contact information if you need extra assistance in getting those STAR assessments done. But it would be ideal if your cohort teacher would be able to access that information during your cohort conferences, which means your students have them completed before those cohort conferences. So they are scored in real time and that data is dumped into our student information system. So we have access to identify, again, any of those potential potholes to help navigate either around them or fill them in. And so there's no gaps in place. Okay. I do want to talk about now kind of back to that PE course real quick, because if your student is enrolled in a PE class, either PE1 for freshmen, PE2 for sophomores, or elective PE for our upperclassmen, it will show up as a Schoology course and as a Summit course. So what PE looks like in the Summit course, you can find it there in your year view. And there are 4 checkpoints for PE2 quarter 1. There are 4 checkpoints for PE1 quarter 1. There are 4 checkpoints for elective PE quarter 1. Basically, for the 9 weeks of the quarter, every student enrolled in PE should be doing 1 checkpoint every other week. So this next checkpoint should be completed by the end of week 4. When I open the assignment in Summit, I see that there's a worksheet that needs to be done for each one of these checkpoints. And then down here, the final product. The final product will not go live until we wrap up the end of the quarter. So to be graded, the students need to have all green checkpoints. That means they need to have completed all 4 of those worksheets. They need to have finished their quarter 1 work samples via Schoology, and I'll show you that next. And then they need to have their reading logs complete in Pathways. So there's a really fun video that Mr. Lopez, who's in charge of our PE courses, has posted that will talk the students through it. But basically what's going to happen is if I open this assignment here for our final product in Summit, there's a worksheet here that doesn't exist. At the close of quarter 1, this worksheet will go live. And this is where the students will do a copy paste of the reading logs from quarter 1. So that piece that shows up here, when I print my PDF, I do a screenshot of that PDF. So you might want to zoom out so you can get the whole thing on your screen. And then your student will paste it here in that final product in that quarter 1 PE assignment. So this is due on October 21st. That means somewhere around October 20th or 21st, that final assignment will go live and the students will be able to do the copy paste of their reading logs. So the other piece that works for PE, which is the quarter one work samples, shows up in Schoology. So again, a quick recap. As a parent, I take attendance in Pathways using that reading log where I drop my initials. The students are filling out these daily check-ins. So the course is called Daily Question or Daily Check-in, Answer Questions Only on Due Dates. The easiest place to find them is right here in the upcoming calendar. And today's question is favorite fruity candy. The students open the document. They view the assignment. They have to submit assignment, create, and then click submit. So it's going to open a new document. They type in their 1 or 2 word answer, and then they click submit. And they should be doing that daily for every school day. That's their way to take attendance. And that's how we are tracking engagement. Just a reminder, with the new laws in place, as an independent study program, we have extra diligence that we are required to complete to show student engagement from home. If students attend workshop classes on campus, we're taking role in those courses. That's one way that we get to track engagement. They do their daily question. That's another way we track engagement. When they do their one-on-one mentoring time with their cohort teacher, that's another way we track engagement. When the students attend that Friday morning cohort time, I call it chase chats for my cohort, we take roll. That's another way to track engagement. And then finally, their progress in their summit platform is another way we track engagement. If your student, for some reason, forgets to fill it out, please encourage them to go back in time. They may have to find it on the calendar view up here for the day that they missed, but it's really important that we have those daily check-ins in place. So if they were doing school that day, please be sure that they then do that daily check-in. Okay. So the other part for PE logs, and this is where it changed from years past. We used to fill out our write-in PE log here in Pathways. It has been moved to the Schoology work sample assignment. So every student enrolled in a PE course will see that PE course in their Summit platform where they do those 4 worksheets and then they submit their reading log at the end of the quarter for their final product. And then they do the log piece here in their PE course in their work sample. So when I open my PE course, and again, I would encourage you to have your student watch the video of how to PE with Mr. Lopez. He will walk them through the same process that I'm talking you through now. The piece that needs to be completed for work samples is this assignment right here, and this includes their log. So I will not be able to open this because I'm viewing it in that shadow view for my son. But when we have this document open, the first page is the cover sheet that is the same for all of the work samples. The second page is where they list out their goals in 1 or 2 sentences for PE for the course for the quarter. The third page is the PE log where they log the minutes and the activities. So for example, you can fill it out for what you have already done, and he or she can fill it out for what they're going to be doing. If they are playing varsity tennis, then on Monday through Friday, because we know that there are practices and games, they would fill out varsity tennis dash 85 minutes. You want this in minute format, not hours. If they go to the gym, then they would say walked treadmill 30 minutes / lifted weights 25 minutes. Total, 55 minutes. Every PE day that is a school day should have an average of 40 minutes for a total of 200 minutes per regular school week. If you don't have PE, then I apologize for being redundant. This does not apply to you. It is the same process for PE1, PE2, and elective PE. They all function the same way. The state of California has mandated minutes. Now, if your student has high-level dance classes they take on Saturdays, we cannot record those minutes on Saturdays. I would encourage you to either push them to the Friday prior or the Monday after. Some of our students are dancing 3 and 4 hours a day. So I want to be sure that we're giving them credit for the work that they're doing. We just have to be sure that we're recording them on those school days. Okay, that gets again recorded on the second work sample here in Schoology. So for your Monday home office hours, if you have not yet checked in on this PE class, I would encourage you to have your student bring up their platform with their Google Docs login and ensure that they have started this document and are recording those minutes. If you have not done it yet, fill them in retroactively. If you know what their activities are going to be, because there's a set schedule, maybe it's Taekwondo or karate, and they do an hour and a half on Tuesday and 2 hours on Thursday, just be sure that you're recording those as 90 and 120 minutes. And those 2 days would fulfill that 200-minute requirement for the week. Okay. Are there any PE questions before we move on?
We do have a couple. A couple I've been responding to with quick responses, but there was one with regards to the screenshot. What exactly was it that you suggested parent screenshot? And could you explain a little bit about the rationale behind it?
Absolutely. So if I look here for that final project, the final product that is due at the end of the quarter for PE, Mr. Lopez would like to see a screenshot of the reading log. So that will show up at the last day of the quarter, and the students would open this document right here, this little worksheet, and that's where they would place the screenshot of the reading logs. The reading log is what you finish for learning period 1 or quarter 1, which ends on October 22nd. When you finish putting all of your initials for the entire quarter, then you would go to print PDF and try and get it small enough on one page on your screen in order to do just a screenshot and copy paste. For whatever reason, we are not permitted in the notebook to insert a PDF. It needs to be just a screenshot. So a screenshot copy, a screenshot paste into this document.
Okay, and then they don't need to necessarily print that off and bring it to their cohort conference, correct?
Correct. Your cohort conference is happening earlier in the quarter, so we're not anticipating that you would have it all filled out. However, most of us will be checking in with our cohort families to ensure you have at least been starting this process, and a reminder that we do need to have it completely filled out by the end of the quarter. If it's all done, it's just gravy.
And then
But
if they
you
don't
don't have to have it printed for us. We will have the ability to log in as your student's cohort teacher to see that it has been completed.
Okay. And then if they aren't in PE 1, 2, or elective PE, they don't need, they won't necessarily be enrolled in this class, correct?
Correct. If your child is enrolled in this in their pathways, and you can see that on the dashboard, so the state of California requires 20 units of PE for graduation. So out of the 220 grad units, 20 of them are PE. We usually assign them freshmen A and B, sophomore A and B, but there are some students that are very active and choose to get some elective credits by taking elective PE. But most of our upperclassmen don't have to worry about it.
And I think that answers all of the questions as far as I understood them from the chat.
Excellent. Okay. So again, instead of filling out under reports, under activities log, we are only doing the reading log. We are not doing the PE log here in Pathways. The students will be doing their PE log in their PE work sample, and it'll be either PE1 quarter 1 work sample, if that's the course they're enrolled in, if it's PE2 quarter 1 work sample, or if it's elective PE quarter 1 work sample. They all function the same. And just a reminder that if you want the walkthrough, this video right here should be showing up in your Schoology course. And as a parent, I can watch the video, or my student can watch the video, or we can watch it together. But Mr. Lopez gives us a walkthrough on how to do PE. Okay. This also leads me into an essential piece that your cohort teacher should be talking with you, and that is work samples. At this point in the quarter, we should have, by the end of this week, so if your cohort conference is this Friday, we should start seeing 2 documents, 2 work samples from your student for every course they are enrolled in. So whether it's the PL 101 course, an English course, a chemistry course, a biology course, work samples should be turned in to the course teacher. This is how we prove to the state of California that your child is a real person taking a real class and deserving of these units towards graduation. So one of the pieces that your cohort teacher will be talking with you about is that work sample piece. So again, today during home office hours, I would encourage you to have your student show that they have begun submitting those work samples. The work samples will all show up in their Schoology courses. So in PE, there is a work sample. Go back in time. If we go to world history and we look at the world history course, there will be a work sample somewhere. Ah, right here. We have work samples, okay, that need to be turned in. If we go to English, and it should show up on each course page, usually under the materials tab. Now remember, if you log into Schoology as yourself, you will need to use the down arrow to be able to view as your student in shadow mode or spy mode to be able to see all of their courses, and then log into or click on the course to look for the work samples document. Every time they open a work samples, they will have a Schoology assignment, and that's where they put in the work. Every Schoology work sample will have the cover page. That's the legal document that the state of California wants to see. Then they will have 2 samples from your student behind that cover page. You do not have to bring the work samples, but more than likely your cohort teacher is going to talk to you and your student to confirm the work samples are turned in. So we collect them digitally. So as part of that parent, student, teacher conference, we're going to make sure that we all understand those work samples are complete by the time of this conference. Okay, so we've talked about PE. We've talked about work samples. Now I want to talk to you about grading. Grades are posted in our Summit courses. There are very few, a couple APs that will have grades posted in Schoology, but for the most part, the grades are actually calculated in the Summit platform, and you can find them under the progress page. The grades cannot populate until the first project score is graded. So as long as you are seeing a blue NA, it means your student is still on track. If you see a red off track, it means your student has fallen behind and will need to take some steps to get current in their class. It is not done, solid, and over with until we close grades at the end of the semester. However, if your student has fallen behind, your cohort teacher might recommend an action plan to help you help your student get caught up. So that would be additional check-ins, additional communication, and additional support, either through your cohort teacher or through the course teacher, to make sure that your student is making progress. Okay. This first set of conferences is early to help identify and support. It is not designed to be punitive, but I would recommend that you use your time this week as a parent to identify any possible conversation topics so you're not surprised at your cohort conference. If your kiddo is brand new to our program and is slowly becoming acclimated to it, and they're running 2, 3, 4 weeks behind, they are still held to the same standard of content. But please know we have lots of grace in allowing them the time to play catch up. So again, from the grading module, you can actually see the current progress. And you can also look to see how the information is being calculated. So for example, I'm going to pick an English and click on it. It will open up the grading module, and it's going to give me information. Right now, there is no project score. And so therefore, the grade cannot be calculated. Once that first project is turned in, the average of all of those cognitive skills will show up in this band, hopefully, because that means my kiddo is in his grade level. Now, remember, this is a scalable grade band. So the sophomore, 70% mastery is a 4, but for a freshman, 70% mastery is considered a 3.5. We expect the students to continue to grow their cognitive skills across their entire time with us. And as they grow and develop, the scale slides over. For seniors, the scale starts at a 5 and goes to a 7 to be grade level mastery. But we also include up to an 8 on the rubric, because with growth mindset, we always want them improving their scores and their skills. We want them to aspire to do better. But that 8 is really indicative of post-high school level work. Advanced college level, pre-professional level work is what is required to get an 8. So please, if you have a freshman scoring a 5, they are right there solid in their grade level band. If you have a junior scoring a 6 or a 6.5, they are doing a great job, especially this early in the semester and in their time with us. If I scroll down, I can look to see which cognitive skills are being assessed with which project. And I can look to see that this first quarter project, the dystopian project for English, is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skills. Okay, so it's a big chunk of their grade. I can also look on the grading modal and see the power focus areas required to stay on track. Currently, we are expecting to see one of them mastered. The next one of characterization, if I click on this, it'll take me to it. So these are the required power focus areas that must be completed by January 14th, by the end of the semester, to master the course. Additional focus areas make up 9% of the grade. They are used as a grade boost. They are not required to pass the class. So at a quick glance, I can see that my son is on track with his self-directed power focus areas. We have no project score yet, and he has not attempted any of those additional focus areas. This functions the same for all of the courses. The grading module pops up. In math, it's a little bit different. 70% comes from the COG skill average for the projects. 10% comes from that portfolio problem. That's that real life application from that math unit. 14% comes from the power focus area, and 6% comes from that additional focus area. And again, I can look through that grading modal to see how things are applied. There will be 3 skills, 3 portfolio problems due this semester to make up that percent of that 10% of his grade. Okay. To earn a 100%, you must complete those additional focus areas. The maximum percent available for a math unit or for a project score is 70%. If we look at the overall grade and we look at this piece right here, sometimes it's easier to explain this as cookies. There are 100 cookies available, a maximum of 70 cookies available from the unit or the project. So even if a student scores above the grade level band for the unit or for the project, and their average is a 5.2, they are still going to top out at 70 cookies available for that unit or that project. Then they can receive the additional from their power focus areas and additional focus areas. Now, from a grading standpoint, we follow the UC requirements, which means we do not use pluses or minuses. An A is an A. And if you pass a power focus area with an 8 or a 9 or a 10, and it turns green and is mastered, then mastered is mastered. There is no benefit to try and take an 8 out of 10 all the way to a 10 out of 10. So mastered is mastered, and an A is an A. All right. So really quickly, I want to try and finish up in just a few more minutes and leave time for more questions. A couple of things from Schoology. This is our primary communication tool. I would encourage you as a parent to be sure you are logging into Schoology regularly. You also have the option under settings to set yourself up to receive emails and alerts if things are posted. So for example, I posted an alert or a message to my cohort that included the students and the parents to get them to sign up for my cohort conferences. But some of my parents didn't get the message. So I followed up with an email. But our primary form of communication with you and with your student is through Schoology. So I would encourage you to do 2 things. One, to be sure that you are following our calendar. And if you have a digital calendar, that you copy this iCal link and paste this into your Gmail or Google Calendar, into your Outlook calendar, into your iCal calendar. There's an option to add a calendar using a URL. Whatever calendar tool you use personally, if you follow the Schoology calendar, you will see updates and changes as they happen in real time. So I would strongly encourage that. I would also encourage you to look at your notifications and make sure that you set off the appropriate kind of communication with that will help you. Do you want an email every time the teachers post a course update? Then turn that on. If email is a better way to get a hold of you, then you have control of what gets forwarded from the Schoology course and your account to your email. We try really hard not to bombard you with emails, knowing that you have your child has multiple courses. The cohorts are usually the most communicative via email, but again, Schoology is the primary communication tool. The other really important communication tool is in our Monday news. 8 a.m. Monday morning, you should have to your parent email account the link from the whole classical academies. There'll be an announcement from our CEO and organizational communication. And then when you scroll down, you click on our school picture and it takes you to our PLC news, and it's posted weekly. So this week we have the information that's regarding cohort conferences. If you read the Monday news from the academies, Cameron Curry, our CEO, clarified that we are not going to be mandating vaccines. So holistic organizational announcements are in the main part, and then the school specific updates happen. I would also encourage those of you that joined us late to be sure you kind of go back in time in those Monday news. You have the option to look at different posts. More important dates are available. Important announcements are available, including Club Rush happening this week. Homecoming, yes, we have a homecoming game. We all attend the same game. We have a homecoming dance. Our dance is separate from that one at studio. They are on the same date, but at slightly different times. This is a paid for dance. All students are encouraged to attend the dance. And this is freshmen through seniors. It is a paid event. So, and we are allowing outside guests per guidelines, and there's a form to fill that out if you want to have an outside guest attend. We also have homecoming court. Ask your student what they're doing. They get to put in a nomination. It's kind of fun. More information, mask mandate, Friday office hours. A quick announcement for Friday office hours. This coming Friday and next Friday, the 24th and the 1st, we teachers will be doing cohort conferences. There will still be office hours available for general question and for assessments if your student needs to request a content assessment, but the teachers won't be available. So if your student has questions, please be sure you have them reach out via Schoology message, and we will address them as we can. If you were not able to attend our first 3 parent boot camps, the recordings have all been posted on our YouTube channel. So that's me, and you can watch them in slow motion if you need to have that information available. Today's session will be posted there as well. So again, communication happens in Schoology, the occasional email, our Monday news. We've talked about mentoring is switched to cohort conferences this week, starting Friday through next Friday. And office hours will happen, but the teachers won't be in them. So that was a lot of information again. Any questions?
Hey, Nikki, could you just run through getting to this page one more time?
How to get to which page?
The page that you're on right now.
The page that I'm on right now?
Yes.
Okay, so on Monday morning, in your email, you received the Academy News newsletter. You can read the Academy News newsletter, which talked about vaccine mandates and a couple other announcements from our organization. And then when you scroll down, there is the picture of our campus, and it takes you to this page, which is our resource page. So that's the picture that's posted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the email?
Apparently I asked the wrong question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
How can we tie our personal email and calendar together?
Okay. So
sorry about that.
Not a problem. So when you are logged in as you, and you have your name in this drop-down menu, not your kids, then you have the option under account settings. So again, your name, settings, it will take you to this page. The iCal link is where it says share your Schoology calendar. And if you click and copy that link, you should be able to paste that into your personal calendar application, whether it's an Outlook, an iCal, a Gmail, they all have an option to add a calendar, and you're going to add a calendar via URL. This is the universal resource locator, the URL address that will allow you to follow the Schoology calendar in your personal calendar app. For email, you want to go up here to notifications, and you should verify that the email address that you have here in account settings is the one that you want all of those alerts to go to. You go to notifications and you choose to enable when you want an email. If you want an email every time the teacher posts a course update, then you turn that on. If you want an email every time there's a group update posted for the school group, like the parent group, you turn that on. So you get to enable the specific types of communication you want sent to you. You also can set notifications to your phone via text message and work through that type of communication as well. So that's where you would set that information if you would like to get a text message when you get an email or when there's an update. Okay, so you get to set the level of communication. But please remember that our primary communication tool with your student and with you is through Schoology. Did that answer the question?
It sounds like it did.
Okay. So, Mr. Sonoda, do you want to go ahead and we'll just end? I'll leave my screen sharing going.